All right, everybody, welcome back to the What Worked for Me podcast. Today we have an amazing guest. Jacob is here with us today, who will be to date the largest amount of weight ever lost. He lost 360 pounds. It's gone through multiple shifts in his life, and I'm really excited to get into it. Jacob, would you like to introduce yourself with anything else, or just get going?
No, that's perfect. It's a journey. Let's go.
All righty. So, um, we talked before this. You said you got all the way up to 525 pounds, but I like to start at the very beginning. So, did you grow up as a big kid? When did you put this weight on?
Uh, so when I was 8 years old, I came from a household of a bodybuilder and a advocate wrestler as a father. My father was that, and so about 8 years old, I made a mistake on the wrestling mat, and my dad said, "You'll never touch a mat again." After that, I ate my feelings, gained about 50 pounds this summer easily. Um, Eighth grade, I was 386, and
Holy
with
cow,
sleep
how tall
apnea,
were you?
5'2".
Wow,
Uh,
386. Okay.
and I was had sleep apnea at the time, was in a hospital bed at a time, still went to school every day, still same personality I got now. Loved everybody, got along with everybody, no bullying. Uh, so I continued and I just loved life. I mean, and it's kind of hard to say that. And I didn't really see the people like pinpoint my weight and got to my freshman year, junior year, January 11th of 99. I went to my mom. It was her birthday. And I didn't have very big support from my father. Uh, didn't think it was going to be there. I was the outsider of the three boys because I was a heavy kid. Um, and I gave it to her for her birthday. I was like, "Hey, mom, you do the legwork. I'll get the gastric bypass." You know. So I said, "But Dad can't know. Dad knows I won't do it." So
And at this
Dad,
point, how big did you get?
I was probably 490
490.
in
Okay.
January 99. Uh,
And what spurred that
everything
on? Was there something internal that was the trigger that you just,
I just think I couldn't be in sports, and I think that I was eating my emotions and feelings, and I think it was I, I don't use mental health a lot, but I think it was mental health as a young kid. Uh, just I sit there eating my feelings. Like I've got a lot of like as a youth, I ran to the youth group and I ran to the Live Wire Boys and Girls Club locally here. They was my saviors because I didn't want to be home because needless to say, I was the outcast of three boys, two other boys, and it was rough at the household. But I turned to other points to get love.
got it?
But
Okay, so you,
I was,
you come to your
I
mom and
was
you say, "Hey, I want to try this surgery." You're to get things going. So what did she say?
she said, "I got you." She's my rock. So I went to a church event and in May, into May, April, and mom called my youth pastor and said, "Hey, there's an opening for gastric bypass May 6th, a week away. You want to do it? Let's do it. Let's do it." I mean, I
And
got
you're
to. I got to say,
17 at the time, right?
17, and
Okay.
I'm the biggest I can be. 7X shirt, 74 size waist. Uh, it's amazing. It was amazing how big I got.
How does life feel at that point? Can we just take us, like,
At that point,
what was your mobility like? What?
my mobility was good. I mean, like I struggled. Like when we went to theme parks, I mean, like I couldn't ride no rides, couldn't walk much. Usually if I'm at a theme park, I was in a wheelchair and then somebody was pushing me because I couldn't walk the whole park. You know,
Okay.
of course they was getting their workout in that day too.
Yeah.
Uh, so I just made the best of it. Like I never really got down on myself. I
Got it.
made the best of life. Uh, I had the gastric bypass, and any other question? You want
No,
me to
no,
keep
it's
going?
great. So
Okay.
yeah, so you go through the surgery, you end up getting the gastric bypass, and then what
Yeah.
happened?
So 2 weeks before gastric bypass, we'll go from there. I'd start using baby spoons, get myself psychology ready for the small portions,
Hmm.
uh, because I have to be mentally strong. I'm 17. Uh, So I was getting myself psyched up for that, and came out of gastric bypass. Um, First day, I didn't know if I was going to make it. I got a book in there. Mom wrote that, hey, Jake's in ICU. Don't know if he's going to make it. Woo, woo, woo. Uh, so I come out. They had to weigh me up through a well scale. They call it a well scale because they didn't have no other scales to weigh me in. Uh,
So
in the
you
hospital,
couldn't use like the standard one you stepped on. It was like a bigger one you had to lay in type thing, or
yeah, yeah, they had to do it in the bed,
okay.
and that's how big I was. And like they
And what
had
was
a
the weight of the day of the surgery?
day of the surgery, I think like 524, 525.
Wow. So you had
Uh,
put on even a little bit more
yeah,
since you
since
kind
I
of
told
started
mom.
going.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so 525 was the biggest.
yes. And I come out and I had a lot of water weight. I come out like 4 days hospital. I dropped like 45 pounds. I
Holy
mean,
cow.
like I had so much water weight, so much. Uh, and I remember the second day in there, my middle brother, which is another, he's one of my soldiers. Uh, he looked at me with Subway and said, "I'm gonna catch you. I mean, you'll never catch me, and this Subway tastes good." I said, "I'm gonna catch you." And so I took off. I took off running. And at 17, I didn't do no exercise. Like I was just young and active. And I
So
noticed
this was
like
in the
weight loss.
hospital, like day of surgery. You tried to run
Yeah, like
afterwards.
second day of surgery, like when I come out and wake up, my brother's eating a sub, saying, "Oh, this sub tastes good." I said, "I'm gonna catch you. I'm gonna catch you, son." And he's like 250. And so he challenged me. He always pats me to keeps moving. Uh so when I go back to high school in 7 days because I'm a social butterfly. So
Right.
like I miss my friends. I was supposed to be out of school the rest of the year. So I go back to school. Uh, my junior year, I walk back in there and I'm probably 240. I mean, I was smoking it like, and so like my senior
So
year,
how
I was
long, how was that? Was that, how long did it take you to go from 525 to 240?
uh,
May
well,
of
I
the
went
year before?
say 340, say 340 because it was
340.
about 6 months.
Six
I
months.
mean, I dropped quick because I was
Yeah. So I
running.
mean, yeah, that's
I
still,
mean,
what
I
is
was
that? I
running
mean,
with
150 pounds or almost in
yeah, yeah. I
six
mean,
months. So
yeah. In the year,
let's
first year, I dropped 210.
wow. So in 1 year you dropped 210 pounds. Let's go right after the surgery. How was eating and recovery of the surgery? What was that like?
Recovery was it was good. I knew what to expect. Uh, I had a lot of great support systems from the doctors and medical field. Uh, I knew what to expect. The eating part was getting used to.
Yeah.
Uh, I remember the first time where I made that mistake. I went out with some friends, came home, mom had spaghetti on the table. I overate and I regret every bit of it. I still remember it to this day. Uh, and that was probably the last time I overate. I realized, hey, there's your limit. You knew your limit.
This is
Uh,
pretty permanent then.
yeah, yeah, like it's you got to know your limit or else you're going to be sick every day.
Right.
Um, the recovery, like I said, I was back at school 7 days. Staples came out, and I just boots on the ground running. Like
Okay.
recovery was great. Like I just had surgery 2 weeks ago, and I don't recover like I was when I was 17. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So
I bet it's a little bit easier when you're lighter.
yeah.
Okay, so let's you talked about how food kind of became an emotional crutch. How was the transition to all of a sudden that crutch is gone? Right? 'Cause you still have stress in your life. Was that a weird learning experience if you got stressed and all of a sudden you couldn't turn to food?
Um, yeah, but I think I was mentally ready. Like the mental part, the grit. Like I
It was
never had
there.
nothing given to me. So like I knew the challenge was coming
Okay, so you're
and
just ready for it.
I'm ready for it. Like I've already been punched in the face so many times, like it's ready to go. It's go time. Mentally I was ready. I was prepared. And like I said, my mom was right there with me. Like meal prep for me, make sure I didn't have broccoli, make sure I didn't have rice, make sure I had the right protein.
Right, 'cause you're
She
just following like the post-surgery,
yeah,
like
make sure I had my
low
right
volume, trying to make
yeah,
sure everything was going well.
Yeah, like they wouldn't like we wouldn't go out to eat because I couldn't go get a burger with them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so
Yeah,
she done the best she could. Uh, and when I went out with friends and the youth group, I had I grew up real quick. Like I
right.
had to make adult choices at the food table.
Makes
That's
sense.
what I would call it. Adult choices at the food table. I wasn't a kid no more. Like it
You're right
was,
then.
yeah. So then, like I said, 210 pounds.
Yeah,
I mean,
you get a year, 1 year from surgery, you go from 525 to 210.
yeah.
So
Like, I mean,
what
I
does
was
that feel like? Is that just crazy to lose that much weight that fast? How?
so crazy because as a kid, as 17, 18 years old, I really didn't worry about the skin. Like, that wasn't affecting me. Like, the body deform wasn't affecting me because man, I'm like doing stuff I couldn't do as a kid. Like I was going back and trying to be a kid, going out playing
Right.
football, going out playing kickball and basketball with the boys. Uh, so I was trying to be a kid still. I was trying to be 14, 15, going to recess, doing all that stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And so, and then the clothes, dropping the clothes size from size 74 down to like, next thing you know, you're in 56. Next thing you know, you're in 40s. And it's like, wow, this is
Okay, so
awesome.
let's take a moment just think about that. You said you went from a 74 to a 40, so you lost 3 feet off of your
Yeah, I
waist.
wish I still had the clothes. Yes.
That's amazing. That is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
Holy
It,
cow.
uh, it,
And I'm sure
and,
a lot of the negative things had gone away, right? Like the sleep apnea. Did that start to go away
uh,
and get better?
yes, it went away. It was hard to separate. It was hard to separate because it was a comfort thing. The hospital bill was a comfort thing. Like it
Hmm.
took me years to get rid of the hospital bed. It took me years to, like, it was scary to let go of the oxygen and all that.
Because you were
Because I was
sleeping in that at home. You were on like a home
yeah,
health
yeah, I was a
system.
ventilator. Yeah, I was on a ventilator pretty much. Uh,
Wow.
so it was a comfort thing. So it was hard to let go. But when I let go, I was like, hey, I conquered that. It was another milestone, you know? Uh,
And during that first year, did you do an, you said you were running. Was there any intentional exercise? Or were you just so excited to be able to go play ball that that was exercise?
that was exercise. Like whatever my boys were doing, like my group and my clique were doing, I was doing finally. You know,
That's
like,
great.
you know, if they was out there playing basketball, I was out there with them. If they was out there playing something, I was out there with them. Uh, the Boys and Girls Club, I went down there, volunteered with the kids, you know, anything to be active, mind
Okay, so
active, youth,
you were just staying
anything.
active just
Yeah,
with lifestyle. You weren't even necessarily like
with
thinking of exercise training,
didn't
and
even
then you
think
were just
about it.
following the diet that you needed to from what the medical professionals prescribed you.
Absolutely.
And okay, so you get to the 1 year mark, you're down, 300-ish pounds. Did you continue to lose weight after that?
I got lowest I got is 190. Uh
190.
190 and then it kind of mellowed out. I did end up having the skin reduction on the chest and the belly
Yeah,
before
let's
I
talk
got
about that. How was that? What's that surgery like? And what did the loose
uh
skin feel like after?
the
I mean, that's
loose
a
I did it was great. I went to the first surgeon that would take me
hmm
and the first surgeon my insurance would accept, which is accept the belly, but it wouldn't accept the chest, so I had to pay off the chest out of my own pocket.
yeah.
Uh so but he did do me a good because he did both of them at the same time. So uh it was painful. It was worse than the gastric bypass.
Yeah, I've been around people who've gotten that surgery. Let's dive into that. So, what's the recovery of that surgery like?
Slow and painful. And you're like, when's it going to stop?
Yeah,
When's it going to stop? If I question myself, it was during that surgery. Like
that was the time when it was rough.
I started questioning, like, was this the right move? Like, I've got scars all over my belly. I've got tubes coming out and I hurt and I hurt.
Yeah,
But mm, my two favorite sayings, it is what it is and trust the process.
and
And I
you just
had
kind of held
to
to
trust,
that.
I had to trust the process.
So
And
what was recovery timeline like
I
until you could
probably
start
did
moving again?
a couple weeks, but I wasn't fully recovered for like 2 months, 2.5 months.
Okay, so it
Like,
was a good couple
yeah,
months.
it was miserable. It was pain. Uh, like I said, I didn't expect that because I thought, well, I just busted open from chest to gut, chest to belly button for the old school gastric. This skin surgery ain't gonna be nothing, but it punched me in the face.
It was pretty rough, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But at the look at back at it now, I wouldn't change a thing.
So you
Wouldn't
thought it
change
was
it.
worth it. Did you like the results of the surgery? How was it to get rid of all the extra skin?
Amazing. I don't know what I would do. I wouldn't do anything different.
Okay.
Like, if I'd done anything different, it was research my doctors.
Yeah,
And it,
just
but it was so overwhelming. The belly was so overwhelming with the excess skin. Like, okay, he's taking me. Let's go.
yeah, for
You
sure.
know,
So let's, at this point, how old are you? You're 18, 19
uh,
by the time you get that surgery?
19, 19.
19. So you're probably, let's say another year after, or 6 months, so you're 19, 20. You probably are feeling like you started to get some momentum in life, right? If you
Yeah.
got the surgery's gone, you finally kind of feel like you have, normal body back. Did you gain any weight during the surgery recovery, or were you still right around the 200 pounds?
Average 200, 205.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
that, how was the next couple of years of life? Was that great? Was it
it
what
was
you needed?
it was good. Of course, graduated high school, started getting a relationship, uh, got happy, got content,
Yeah.
gained a couple pounds, worked in the factory life for 10 years, went through a hard split up, uh, ate my emotions a little bit, gained a little bit more pounds, probably about 230 at the time.
So up
Uh,
about 30 pounds.
yeah. So content, wasn't really exercising, didn't worry about exercising. And the bad thing I had in my mind is I saw the addiction. I want to get off this real quick, but this is part of my weight loss and my journey. Uh,
Yeah.
is my father was an addict of weightlifting and exercising. He's still around and he's still part of my life, and he's amazing today. Uh, totally different guy. Uh, but his addiction scared me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 'cause you
Like,
saw kind of that polar opposite, going way too far with health, and so you wanted,
yes. So like I never thought about jumping on a treadmill or lifting a weight. Matter of fact, first time I lifted a weight, and we'll get into it, is July this 2024. First time I ever lifted a weight in 43 years.
okay, so
And
so you
and
really
because
had
of
kind of a negative because of what happened with the kid where you were trying to wrestle and then it didn't work out very well, and then just because
and
of
I
the
saw him
presence
in
of,
yeah, I saw him in the dungeon lifting heavy weight, 6 hours a day. I saw the addiction and I
yeah,
was like, I don't want no part of that. Like, don't want no part of it, scared.
yeah.
Um, so went on and worked at the factory, um, got out of the hard relationship, blamed myself, another emotional thing, mental thing, blame myself for it. Uh, End up changing careers, went to corrections in 2011.
Hmm.
Uh, Corrections is a very dark spot sometimes.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm sure.
there's good and there's bad, especially at the beginning of my career. Uh, so all you do is you make your rounds, you sit down, you eat, you're bored, you eat, you sit and eat. The weight just kept gaining. So like 260, I was there. Uh,
And was this starting to cause any worries in your mind? Because at this point, you said 190 was the lowest, so up to 260, you're up about 80 pounds, ish, 80, 70, 80 pounds. Are you worried about this, or is it just happening kind of so slowly you don't really think about it? What's going on with your relationship there?
Never really noticed it. Like I wore bigger uniforms,
Hmm.
correction. Really didn't notice it. Uh, Never really noticed it. Really, I mean, like it was slow. It was slow motion.
Yeah.
Uh, Never jumped on a scale. Didn't really worry about it. I mean, same personality. I love life. No matter what you bring at me behind the fence or outside the fence, I'm the same old Jacob. You know.
Right.
So kick on to I got into a relationship with a nurse that worked in the corrections with me. Um, I had a good rapport with the population. Uh, she had a good rapport with the population on December 27th of 17, I believe. She
Hmm.
was held hostage.
Wow.
So uh, they put
And
me
how
on the
did that,
outside.
was that in the prison or was this?
Yeah, that was inside the fence. Uh,
Wow.
so we didn't work out. 3 months after that, we didn't work out. I come from a family of boys, and as y'all heard about my father, so I was raised on throw dirt on it and move back in, go back front
Right.
line.
Not
So I
really
put
worry about.
her emotions, my emotions. I put the Superman cape on them and flew.
Yeah.
Well, that was a mistake. Uh,
That's when you find kryptonite, is when you start trying to
yeah,
hide from the actual things that you need to.
yeah. And so, like 2 days later, I went back in, pushed her back in, like, hey, let's go. We got to face this. We got to face it
Yeah.
head on. Uh, that was a mistake. And I had to realize that. So it didn't work out. 3 months, blame myself. Man, I was not sympathy. I didn't have empathy, didn't have nothing. I mean, I
Right.
realized this, but I kept eating my emotions. Uh, Thought she was coming back for 6 years. Didn't date, didn't get in relationships, didn't do nothing. Thought she was coming back.
Right.
She ain't coming back. I had to realize that. I had to mentally realize that. And then I had to do a presentation on it, on the situation.
Hmm.
And the biggest thing I promote today in corrections is take your Superman cape off. Do what's right for your mental health, no
Right.
matter what. And because it took me that long. And then I started trying to be a leader in the crisis negotiation team. And I, my aspect in corrections is attitudes reflected on leadership. I could barely
Right.
walk 30 feet. Now I'm scared because my lungs are bad.
And so
Lungs are
this
really bad.
was your health starts to cave. Was there
Deteriorate.
anything else, or were you just regaining weight? What was else was going on?
Regaining weight. So when that 2017 situation came on, I ate my emotions and smoked my lungs up.
You
You got
started
to think,
smoking as well too.
yeah, I was I was working 12-hour shifts and I was smoking a pack and a half a day, and I can't smoke inside the penitentiary.
Okay.
So everybody can kind of do the math. Like I was chain smoking.
Yeah. If you were
I,
outside of work, you were smoking.
yeah, and I was chain smoking. Not proud of it, but it was to fight my demons. Like I was
Right.
coming home to prison to my place of these 18 walls here, and I was a prison of my own. You know, uh, your parents don't really understand it because they never done corrections. Your brothers don't understand it because they never done corrections. Your friends don't understand it because they don't do corrections.
Right.
Uh,
And you're trying to wear that Superman cape, so you're not going to a professional. You're not
yeah,
trying to
no,
take care of yourself, and you're just burying it in food and
yeah,
cigarettes, other kind of bad choices.
yeah. Never drank, just cigarettes and food. Just cigarettes and food. Just killed it out. And then I started trying to be a leader in the CNT team, and my attitudes reflect on leadership. If I can't walk here to 30 feet, how can I give directives or ask for, my team to be solid?
Right.
So January 1st of 23, that's where we're at. Let's go 22. October 22, I had to do a presentation on the situation. And
Yeah.
that's when I took the Superman cape off.
Yeah.
I said, hold up. I'm going to be a leader. I got to act like a leader, you know? So 23, January 1st, 23. You can see on my social media, my Facebook. I went to Planet Fitness. I sat down on a bike and I was able to do a minute on the bike before I was worn out. A
And
minute.
how much did you weigh at this time? Do you have a weight that you got back up to, or
385. 385.
385? So you'd gained
Yeah.
almost a whole 200 pounds back.
Yes. Yes. And
Okay.
with that long,
Wow.
I
With
could
bad
only do a
lungs added
minute.
this time.
Yeah. Uh, I could only do a minute on the bike, and I put on my social media just to go because I don't, I just didn't. I wasn't gonna fail, just to go.
Yeah.
I could just only do a minute, but I let social media, I let the whole world know just a minute, but I got it.
Yeah.
I beat the
This is where
biggest
I'm at.
obstacle was getting in. Yeah. So I done that for like 2 weeks and kind of pedaled off. February 23, I went in the hospital, lungs issue. It was Valentine's Day. This ain't fair to my parents. This ain't fair to my nephew. It's not fair to my people. I might get a little emotional, but
It's totally fine.
uh, I got to do something. And so I come out and my doctor, let's get to my doctor real quick. My doctor had me at age 14. He looked at me at 14 and said, if you don't lose weight, you're going to die. Well, I didn't go back to that doctor. You don't tell, like in my mind, my parents' mind, you don't tell a 14-year-old that.
Right.
Well, we reconnected. Me and my doctor did.
Okay.
Uh, Probably in 20. And he said, I'm not helping you until you help.
2020.
Yeah, I'm not helping you
Okay.
until you help yourself. So 23, I was in the hospital in February.
Yep.
And so I said, I'm done smoking. I'm done. Whatever I got to do, if I got to get to my Zen pouches, if I got to try something different, I got to be done smoking. Uh, so I come out done smoking. Just I was in the hospital 5 days, come out, gave about 2 months of quit smoking. I went back to doctor
How's the
and
process of that? What were you able to do
uh,
to
I
give that up?
my mindset, mental, like I knew I love my family, and I had to have the grit. If I want to spend another day with my mom and my dad and my nephews, I'm not going to do it smoking. I'm not going to do it heavy. Like they're going to bury me, and it's going to get real. Uh,
And
so
so something I've seen a lot is sometimes people have kind of that moment of that spark of change, right? You're in a hospital bed, you know you got to stop. And then they get back out in the real world and things kind of shake them and you can lose perception. How did you keep that going in a way that you were able to, drop such a hard habit? And then also it sounds like this was kind of a big changing point for your entire health.
uh, I connect off two things during this right here: Jelly Roll,
Okay.
music.
Yeah.
As you notice, if you read into his music, he's chasing white lines and his dope and all that. Well, I was
Yeah.
chasing food and cigarettes.
Okay.
So I recouped his songs like, stop chasing. You're not made like this. Stop.
Yeah.
David Goggins is the next one. I've totally, to this day, I've got the Goggins mindset.
He's great. There's some good
Is it
things that Goggins puts out there.
is it great? Not always.
Sometimes it can
Do
be
I
a
hurt?
little much, but sometimes we'll get the
Do I,
job done, right?
do I hurt people's feelings? A lot. Uh, I'm not proud of that, but it's just the. So I had the David Goggins mindset of get off my butt, quit making excuses, and drive. I didn't have that the first time.
So
It
you give up cigarettes in two
give up
months
cigarette,
and you start
give
losing
up
weight
pop,
again.
give up
Give
pop.
up what?
I was drinking
Pop.
Coca Cola. Yeah, Coke.
Yeah.
I was drinking a case a day, 24 pack, not 12, 24.
24 pack. Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, Coke Zero and no cigarettes. You're crazy. Like a lot of people said, you're crazy, but I was ready. Like, so I went
Yeah.
back to the doctor and the doctor said, hey, you ready? I was like, yeah, doc, I quit smoking. He said, well, I want to put you on Wegovy.
Okay.
He said, I'm on Wegovy. He said, I lost the weight. He said, I think it really worked for you. All right, I'll try it. Let's shoot. So I put that first injection in me, and I was 385, and I didn't keep track on my social media until I was 363. So I always like to say 363 because I know I have it on social media, but I was 385.
We'll give you the
And
13 pounds or 12
yeah,
pounds.
so, so because at first you don't know if it's going to work. You don't know if you're going to really stick with, like, you question yourself.
Right.
So I never kept up with it. Man, first 20 pounds came off. I was like, oh man. And if I knew how to TikTok, I would have TikToked everything. Uh, uh, but so I 360. I saw the weight coming down. Mom's like, "Man, you're doing good. You're doing good." And
And so you start on Wegovy. Was there any side effects that you get used to? Sometimes people have side effects with that. Was there anything that way?
I did not have side effects till like the fourth, fifth month.
Fourth, fifth
Uh,
month, then you started
yeah.
running into
So
some.
yeah, and so when I started with Govy, I started walking like at
Okay.
work, and we're talking penitentiary. I just only get 2,000 steps a day. That's how lazy I was. Well, lazy motivation, whatever you want to call it. I call it
You
lazy.
just do the bare minimum of your checks and kind
Bare
of go sit
minimum.
back.
Like like my supervisor wouldn't let me go up the steps because I couldn't breathe going up the steps. And so I'm like, if my body's used to 2,000 steps, let's bump it up to 3,000.
Okay.
Okay. So I did that for like 4 months and the weight's just dropping, just following my diet. My mom and dad meal prep for me. They cook at night. Whatever they cook at night, I take for lunch next day. So
And were
I'm on
you were you looking at any specific goals like macros or calories, or was it just you were eating what they were making you?
eating what they was making me. I never counted a calorie in my life, never counted a macro. I don't even know what a macro is.
Okay, perfect.
So,
So you're just
so
going off of
I'm just going to shoot it real with everybody. So because everybody's different. I mean, I just
yeah,
going off what's working for me.
got it.
Uh, so I I started walking. I started seeing the weight loss. Well, middle brother's gained weight since then. And so I weighed in at 343. He goes back to mom and dad's scale. He gets in there. He's about 355. And he says, I'm gonna catch you. I said, absolutely not.
Little bit of
Absolutely,
competition between the brothers. Nothing gets things
yeah,
going like that.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. So right then I set a goal. I want to be the lightest Fulton in town. We're well known around town. I want to be the lightest Fulton. And like my mom's like 190. I don't know what she is. I know dad's 205, 210. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the lightest Fulton. So as I'm losing weight, the hardest aspect about my losing weight wasn't motivation or nothing. It was to block out the haters. I've had so many haters, and you would not realize how many haters I have. And
Just a lot of people being negative towards the
very negative. I got a list on my refrigerator about 33 people, and
people
they're
just
local.
telling you
Just
you can't do it or
can't do it. That I'm taking Wegovy. That I'm fake. A lot of negative, and that fueled my system. That lit the fire under me.
got
And
it.
when it's real close to you, it really lights a fire under you.
So you
Uh,
kind of turn that negative
into a positive. Like,
into the positive. Yeah.
oh yeah, like a lot of them negative people are because they can't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go do a mile. They
Mhm.
don't have the motivation I have. And that's where the negative comes from. That's to me. That's the David Goggins mindset again.
Right.
And,
And so
and
you started, sorry, I just wanted to make sure
go
to keep
ahead.
things straight. So you started walking a little bit more, and then you start getting the thing where your brothers, you're trying to outdo your brother. Did training change, or did you keep just slowly adding more steps in? What what
Uh,
what did this look like?
so training did change. I bumped up to 7,500 steps,
Okay.
and I was I would what in the penitentiary I call the shoe, the up top.
Yeah.
So my limits of walking was very limited. Uh, so I I was a rec. I'm a rec leader, so I get paid for walking around. Right,
Okay, there
but
you go.
it was very limited there where I was at. So one, I reached out on social media to my locals, hey, anybody personal trainer will train me.
Yeah.
And I set a goal for 2023 to do a 5K.
Okay.
So I hate running. I hate running. So
But you're just trying to use it as the motivation to keep you going, basically.
yeah. And I don't lift. I won't lift at this time. Uh, so I said, okay. So I need to make a change because my limit is walking and I'm slowing down weight because I was knocking some weight out like 12 pounds a week, sometimes 6 pounds a week, sometimes like I was
Right.
knocking it out. Uh,
One thing, one thing I want to touch on before we go, how regain is something that everyone faces. If you lose a large amount of weight, you're going to regain some of it. You regained a good amount, 200 pounds. How are you able to get back on the horse and keep going? Because I know that's what happens with a lot of people. Like they hit that 200-pound regain, and all of a sudden, hey, like I just don't want to try anymore. I know the big thing you said was your family, but getting back into it, what did you have to process anything like that, or did that just all process with the being there for your family? What was that like?
my theory is I've always never had nothing given to me. I've always been in the grit. I got the grit
Yeah.
mentality of been hit in the face so many times with this stuff that it's time. It's time.
Okay.
Like there's no more time given. Like I can't wait 4 more months.
You're just going
Like
right now.
I've got I've got to get the boots on the ground. I've got to go.
Got it.
And
And it sounds like you're moving fast. You're losing 6 pounds, sometimes 12. That's crazy fast to
yeah,
be.
like it was I I don't know. I mean, like I just put the work in, and like a lot of people ask me my diet. I don't have a certain diet. Like I said, I don't even know what a macro is. Uh,
You're just going off of
I,
Phil and just burning.
I'm just TikTok, really TikTok. A lot of TikTok, a lot of social media, a lot of the
Yeah.
group that we have. I reach out to some people, but I don't really watch my diet. I mean, like, uh, I know what mom's cooking every night, so I
And you're just
know
doing kind of portion control is basically you're just doing
portion
how much you're eating.
control. I eat my eggs every morning. I do eat eggs every morning. Uh, I watch what I eat. It's hard to watch what you eat inside the fence. So she came up with a plan of I'll cook Sunday through Thursday. Whatever I cook on Sunday, you take to work on Monday for lunch.
Yeah.
And if and because what they serve in the chow hall is not always the best for you. Sometimes
Right.
it's good because it's right there, it's convenient, but
Gotta love
it
the support of a mom. That's pretty great.
yes, she's 100% my rock. Uh, so
So through this process, how, let's say 6 months from when you kind of start going, how far down are you? You back in the 200s? Where are you at
mm, I reached out and got my personal trainer.
for the marathon? I mean, for the 5K, right? So you start training for the
Yeah,
5K. Where were
yeah, I
you
reached
weighing around then?
330.
330. So you're down a good 40, 50 pounds.
Yes, and so I had an old wrestling coach pick me up. He said, "Let's change Fulton," and I had the nickname in town was Fulton Nasty,
Okay, there you go.
and so we're going to change it to Swole Nasty.
Okay.
So uh, so picked up. He's working out with me. He's old military. He's an old wrestling coach. Boom, 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 doing all that. We're getting down. I got down to 293. And I told mom, I said, I don't know what's going on with my trainer, but feels like he's trying to hurt me. Like he's really pushing me
Too
to
hard.
scare me, to almost scare me.
Yeah.
Like I'm not scared behind the fence. I'm not going to be scared outside the fence, And
Yeah.
that's my motto. Uh, so uh, he was supposed to meet me. So me, a friend from work. So I wanted to do a 5K. A friend from work said, "Hey, don't do no local 5K. Let's go to Philadelphia and do the Rocky Balboa 5K."
Huh, that sounds pretty fun.
He said, "What?" I said, "Everybody's a Rocky fan."
Yeah.
I said, "Bet." I said, "Bet." He said, "Well, me and the wife's going to do the marathon. You do the 5K. Rock it out." So my personal trainer is supposed to meet me there.
Okay.
We flew out 2 days. He's supposed to meet me there. He says, "Hey, I'm gonna get to the airport. I'll Uber to the Airbnb the night before the race. We'll go to the race and we'll fly home." Never showed up. Obstacle in my course.
Right.
Obstacle. I got his shirt on, promoting him, ready to rock. Come to find out, he was. I don't know if you want this on your podcast or not, but I'm gonna say it.
We can edit it out if it's too graphic, but
He was chasing little boys.
that yeah, that's rough.
So I called one of my other friends. I was like, "Hey, Duddy, this guy didn't even show up." I was like, "I'm in tears. I'm so excited. I finished this race.
Right.
Like, it was so emotional, so powerful. Like, it was almost another kickstart because I never thought I would be able to do a 5K. Uh, and to see all the people out there and the everything, it was amazing. And I called mom, of course, and told super excited to her. But I was hurt because my personal trainer.
Didn't show
So
up.
yeah, so I get on my bike, ride to the Airbnb, pack my stuff up, go to the airport. On the way home, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I counted on this guy. Like,
Right.
he was showing me things that I didn't know. And I'm pretty agitated and pretty hurt and pretty like, but I can't give up. I can't
Right.
give up. So I get back home. I was like, no need for a personal trainer. You're going to do this on your own. You're going to do this on your own. You ain't going to let nobody get in your life to distract you. So I still haven't dated, still no personal trainer, no nothing. Uh,
And so you trained, he helped kind of train for the the 5K. You get at this point you're high 200s, right? 280, 290, somewhere in there.
290, yeah, 290.
290. And
Yeah.
you had the letdown. He obviously is hopefully having some type of legal ramifications at that point. And then you're just like, okay, I got to do this solo. So what did training look like once you were designing it?
Uh, so I made a choice of going from up top at the rec department to the yard on the rec department.
Okay.
So I've got a little bit more mobility, a little bit more access. Um, I started enjoying pickleball.
Oh, fun.
The population showed me how to do pickleball. So pickleball is in my exercise every day now. Uh, I play 4 hours, 2 hours, every bit I can get. I play pickleball. Uh, the guys used to see me on the yard, was coming to the gym, and they was like, Sultan, like, we're so proud of you. Like, and they're not, they don't have to say that,
Yeah.
but to hear that every day, like people that you wouldn't expect to say this to you, say it
Right,
to
like
you.
inmates and
Yeah,
coworkers.
yeah, yeah. And the staff is amazing. I have a DW. He was my supervisor for a while. Him and his wife are my biggest supporters. Like they call and check on me. They like the surgery right now. They call and check on me. They're very supportive. Like I have a good support staff.
That's
Like from
great.
staff from work, home life to even the population. Like I was able to do a weight loss class with them. Uh, we took 30 guys and almost lost almost 400 pounds in 8 weeks.
Cool.
Like like we was a dungeon. And so anywho, go back from there and I bumped up my steps to 11,000.
11,000. Okay, so you're doing lots and lots of
So
steps.
yeah, and a gallon and a half of water. No Coke Zero, gallon and a half of water.
Hmm.
So I changed my water intake. I did do that. Have a Coke Zero here and there, but I'm a big water drinker now. I used to hate water, but I
Right.
know the reading and access and stuff that it's that.
Yeah, we need to
Uh,
drink water for sure.
yeah. So it's just stuff I never realized when I lost the first time because
Yeah.
I didn't put no knowledge into it. I was
And
17.
let's kind of investigate that for a second. What was different this time around than last time? Like, how did it feel different? I mean, obviously you're older, so maybe there's parts there. You're working, you're not a kid, it's not fresh out of surgery. What were some of the biggest differences that you noticed the second time compared to the first time?
The age is most definitely a big thing, like mature wise. Like you knew you let yourself go. You knew that you didn't mean to. You knew there was a reason for it. You just had to dig deep and find the reason.
Right.
And the maturity and the capability of being able to notice what's going on. Like what's what's deep. Like I had a deep dig in my skeleton box and pull some of the skeletons out.
Right.
Even even at 8 years old, like I've sat down with my mother and said, "Why did you let this happen? I need
Right.
answers." It's not a great conversation to have with your mother that you rock, but I need
Yeah.
answers. And then
And so I think
my
you touch
father,
on something important, right there, because you talked about how kind of your mental health was a big factor, and I think that's the big factor for everybody. Trauma can often manifest in weight. So, what do you do now, and what did you have to do to get your mental health to a safe place or actually a stable place?
my biggest mental health issue is probably, and nobody judge my family, please. And because they are my rocks now, it's probably with my father.
Yeah, I just had a hard
And
relationship with him.
hard relationship. And we went on a hunt and we was in a fishing boat and he apologized. He said, I wish I'd done things different. I said, Dad, it's okay. You made me the man I am today. And he did. And he did. He put the grit in me. I wouldn't be able to do this if I was given everything. I
Right.
believe that. Uh him punish me, him maybe not everything, but majority of it, he what he did, he thought he was right at the time. And now he looks back and he realizes it. And
And so just the forgiving him probably kind of helped with,
yes, and
realizing that was a big source of the
to hear
fear and
him
trauma in
say,
your life and that.
yeah, yeah, big. It was big. And to hear him say almost once a week, I'm so proud of you. Like this is amazing. He don't
That's
realize
great.
what it does, but I do.
Right.
And and like I go back to that from going emotional to the haters fuel my system.
So
I
just love
love
from
them.
the inside and then the people on the outside kind of
I love them. I love all the haters. I love them. They don't realize what they do to me.
helps motivate you
Like,
sometimes.
yeah, like I was at Planet Fitness today, and like I just had hernia surgery, and that's another thing. Like the obstacles of losing the weight, like I had 7 hernias pop up and a massive.
Holy
So like,
cow. So that's
they
actually
didn't. They,
a good thing to explore, right? When you're going through large scale weight loss, you're always going to have so I mean just as you're going through life, something's going to happen.
yeah.
So when you have something like, like a hernia surgery or one of these bigger setbacks, how do you not let that steal your momentum and how do you get back into it? Because that can throw off a lot of people.
So it's, I went into surgery at 166. I
As we
went
we jumped a lot because last time we were talking, you were 290. So
okay.
maybe let's hold this question for a second. How did you go from 290 to 166?
Like I said, just I bumped my steps up. I
Just
bumped my
bumped your
steps
steps
up.
up and watch
Bumped
what
my
you
steps
ate.
up. Watch what I ate, and took my shot every day, every week. Uh,
And how long did this take you?
I started my journey of March of 2023 with the Wegovy.
So a couple years, 2, 3 years,
No,
2020.
March would be
Oh,
2 years.
yeah, 2 years. Sorry, 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. And
So
so,
that brings you all the way down then, 230 pounds this for the second time through. So
yeah.
and almost what I mean 360 from the first time. So that's incredible how much weight.
And like I said, I was TikToking like Like I knocked. My brother said he was gonna catch me, and then I saw my oldest brother, which is one of my number one biggest haters. Just shout out to you. Uh, I looked at him at a softball game and I said, I will be the lightest Fulton. He said, no way. I said, yeah, I'm catching everybody. So I passed him, passed the middle brother, kicked off the nephews, passed them. They're about 250. And then the hardest part was to get dad. And
Mhm.
that was a big motivation. Like I had obstacles where I was going.
Yep.
And so like when I got to 220 and he was at 205,
Yeah.
them 15 pounds were so hard,
Yep.
super hard. And I kept grinding and grinding. And I did some, so like, go back to like my calories, never counted them. Now I come from like I said, I come from a wrestling family. So there's nights when I get stumped on a weight,
Yeah.
I would put two pairs of sweats and three comforters on me.
So you're almost like cutting weight,
Yeah, cutting weight.
just cutting
And
the
that goes,
water weight.
yeah, and that goes from watching my middle brother and my oldest brother when they was younger on wrestling and how dad made them cut weight in high school.
Yeah.
Like this is how you're going to do it. I sat in the sauna for an hour. I sit in the sauna for an hour every day. Today, I've got my own sauna. Uh,
Hopefully for other health benefits, not intentionally cutting weight, right? Because
no,
that
not now. Yeah, totally not now. But yes, but I mean, there's days I would sit there and put my room. I have a personal heater, and my room be 90, and I have two pairs of sweats, two hoodies, and three blankets
just
on
trying
me,
to
and not
sweat
the
it out.
healthiest. Yeah, but I would
And so
lose 4 or 5.
how did you because obviously that's not a super healthy habit and this
No,
isn't real weight. How did you kind of end up moving past those, right? And getting past because you were just trying
uh,
to catch somebody. So I'm sure there was a point where you probably realized I need to stop
oh,
doing this. This isn't very good for
yeah,
me.
yeah, it lasted for a little bit, maybe a week, and then I was like, uh, I was just like, I can do this other ways. I can do this other
Okay.
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't not
Dehydration is
the
probably a very, very dangerous
y-
route. So
yeah,
that
yeah.
probably isn't the
So
best.
no, but it was. I mean, I've done some things like that. Especially if I get on a stalemate, if I get
Yeah. Just trying to
plateauing,
break that
just trying to
plateau.
break it. Either I'll do a eat up, or I'll do a eat up, as in I'll eat up, or from one night, and then or I'll sweat it out. I never done a cheat day. I never done a cheat day. Never ever, because I never count calories now. But I would do is if I was at 290 and I wanted to get 275, I can't have my favorite pizza, hometown pizza, till I
Until
hit
you hit,
275.
so you
Yeah, I
kind
don't
of
care
start
if it takes a
rewarding
month.
yourself that way.
I don't care if it takes a month. I don't care if it takes 4 months. It will, once I hit 275 or under, I'll go get the pizza. But I can't have it before then.
Got it.
And I stuck to that. And I was stuck to that.
Did you
Uh,
ever have any issues? Because sometimes when you use food as a reward system, it can create like some negative issues long term. Did you ever have any issues with like cravings or when you finally got the reward overeating, how did you make sure that you didn't, turn that into an unhealthy habit?
I never had an issue. Just I knew the next day was less boots on the ground. I mean,
Cool.
uh, my mental state is the best it's ever been from day one. Coming out of that hospital,
Yeah.
my mentality was boots on the ground. Like
And then just keep moving.
it's do or die time. Like even like 166 pretty low for me.
Yep.
And
And so you
and
kept kind of get zoomed back in, right? So you end up passing your dad. I assume you win your goal of becoming the lightest Fulton. You get down to
yeah,
like 166, 165. Um, and is that what you're kind of planning to maintain? Is that what you're hoping to maintain now for long term? Where do
so
you want to be?
uh, I had the hernia surgery and I went to 180 and I 197 at the emergency room the other night, but I'm already down to 178 again. Just a lot of water weight. But yeah, 165. I started lifting in July.
Okay.
I went to a couple guys that I know and inside, and I said I want to lift. that I
Yeah.
don't want to do too. I don't want to go crazy.
Yeah.
And so they was able. They was like, we're starting with push ups. I was like, I can't do a push up. So they was like, do a push up. And I had to do them on my knees, and I done five.
Yep.
He's like, if you can do five of them, you can give me one regular one. Well,
Yep.
now I'm bumping out. Before surgery, I was bumping out 125.
Wow.
So,
So just start with
uh,
calisthenics body weight. That was really what you were using.
yeah, and then we started lifting, and I started getting structure, and it is addiction, Mike. I'm telling you, like I'm craving to lift weights right now, and
You
like
can.
yeah, and I know I got to wait till March to do it. I know, but it's
And this can
there.
this can be an important thing to think about because anything taken too far becomes a vice, right? Any virtue taken too far becomes a vice. So what do you do to make sure that, maybe the habits you needed to adopt to become a healthier person don't become your next vice, right? You kind of move away from food addiction. And then what are you doing to make sure you're not setting yourself up for another addiction, as far as weightlifting or whatever that next thing is?
Uh, I know my limits. I know I'm never going to be that guy.
Yeah.
Uh, I just need to be structure strong. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Just you
I don't
know,
need.
yeah,
Yeah,
not chasing anything crazy.
I
And so
stretch every night. I meditate every night, and that's probably the two biggest things I've done in my life. Like in this journey, I haven't mentioned it, but I do meditate and
yeah,
I
let's
do.
talk about meditation. I really love those type of mindfulness practice. So when did you get into meditation and how did you find that it helped and how often do you do it? Let's just talk all about that.
David Goggins
Okay. Yeah.
goes back to David Goggins. I don't do what he does, but I do the meditation and stress and stretching on one setting before I go to bed.
Yeah.
So
And so when
I
you're meditating, what are you thinking about? What do you go
just
through?
re- just relaxing and just everything's off. Lights are off in the apartment, TV's off, everything's off. My mind's off. Is there's days I think about how blessed I am. There's days
Just thinking about
that
gratitude or positive
yeah, yeah.
outlooks on life.
And yeah, I mean, meditation is great. Uh I don't get much of it inside the fence. I don't get much of it outside the fence. So when I heard he did that, I was like, I'm gonna make time for myself.
Right.
I'm gonna make time for myself. And I don't care if it's 30 minutes before bed, but it's relaxing. Like, and it gets you ready for the next day. That's the way I look at it.
Right.
Like everything's gone. Like you got in an argument at work with a coworker or with whatever you're in, it's done.
Right.
If you're not happy because one of these haters said this, use it as fuel and move on. Like
Right.
they have no space in your head. Like
Just take the
give
time to
them,
process it instead
yeah,
of
you
dwelling
give
on
them
it.
space in your head, yeah. And I during this process, I dated one person, and I realized that it was just a distraction. Like I will find that person, but that's irrelevant. But that's a process. That's part of it too. I gave that one chance to be in my life, and realized
Yeah, and
because that
whatever
can
it
set
is,
you
right?
back.
I
That can
think
set
you're
you back.
realizing whatever it is, whether it's stress at work or relationships, just taking that time to, process it and make sure that you're responding to it and listening and working through it is really important. Something that I would love to talk about, how, when you were losing weight, I know you were kind of thinking about the being the lightest Fulton, but was there anything else that you realized like, okay, now at this point, this is where I want to stop? Sometimes people can take weight loss too far and, get too small or, lose more than they necessarily need to. For you, is there anything that you thought, hey, this is where I like? I know you said you're about 175 right now. Is How are you able to kind of decide where you want to be and when you want to stop versus keep going?
I'm happy where I'm at, and I'm okay
Hmm.
at 165. Uh, my fear is if I stop. am I going to go back the other way? That's
Right.
my fear. I'd rather take 160 and 155 than 360.
Mm. And so
So
let's kind of think about that. So long term, what is kind of your strategy? Because you experienced a lot of weight gain. So have you put anything in place to keep yourself from regaining? What's kind of your thought process this time so you don't do that again?
thought process is just keep doing what I do. There's no days off. Like uh, I realized like from the 190 after gastric bypass to 370, 380, 360 that I had no treadmill in my life. I had no motivation in my life. And everybody accepted that.
Right.
Okay. Now I have a handful of people accept the weight loss. I rekindled my circle. Like I eliminated a lot of people and I don't have no room in my circle for them people
Right.
because it's not talking about the haters. It's talking about real life. If the people ain't on the same board as you, they don't have no room in your circle. So if they sit there and say, Jake, you want to go to the bar with us? I don't got time for it. Y'all know I don't drink. Y'all know I don't
Right.
want to be around smoke. Y'all know this. So
Hmm.
y'all go on do your business. I'm gonna go do my business. And my business is gonna get me farther in life and positive.
So that's one of the things that you've set up for long-term maintenance. It's just really
Yeah,
good support system, making sure you're not around people who are gonna kind of pull you
yeah,
back the other way.
yeah. I mean, like I eliminated a lot of good people. And they are good people, just not on the same page as me.
That makes sense. And
Not, and it's
so
hard, hard.
that can be, I think that can be really hard when you have to, yeah, I think it's one thing to get someone out of your life who you know is a negative influence, but sometimes when it's a mix, like they're a good person, they're just maybe not good for where you're at that time. That can be a very hard thing to separate yourself. Um, so some of the things you sound like you picked out. One, you added in a lot more exercise for maintenance. You said the first time you weren't really doing any exercise. Do you keep track of weight a little bit more consistently now? I think you said you didn't weigh yourself for it sounds like almost a couple years when you had regained the 200 pounds. Is that something that you track now more?
Yes. So I hear a lot of, my opinion, I hear a lot of, I don't weigh this, I don't weigh that. I weigh 3 times a day, maybe four.
Okay. So
I
you're
weigh first thing in
constantly,
the morning. I weigh first thing in the morning
yeah,
and I write it down. When I come home from work, I strip down the weigh and weight, weigh. I know what kind of work I need to do. I know what I've done. I know what kind of work I need to do that night. Like there's no ifs, ands, buts. Then I go to bed. After a shower, I dry off, get back on the scale. I know where I'm at. I know where I'm going
okay.
to be at in the morning.
So you're
I
weighing
know.
yourself real like multiple times a day. Do you ever worry about like, does that ever have any negative side effects on your psychological health to kind of be like fixating that much on it? It doesn't.
No, no.
Okay.
It motivates me. Like if I get on the scale after this interview and I'm at 180, I'll probably go for a 2 mile walk.
And just try to keep that balance that way.
Just
Do
try to
you
keep
bring
that balance.
any do you bring any kind of intuitive things into it where you're thinking about, hey, how does my body feel? What do I need to do that way?
Yeah, I
Just
check my body quite a bit. Like, and sleep is big. Uh,
yeah,
and I didn't realize that until this time around how important sleep is.
right,
Like, uh, and that's something I learned. And it's a learning process. Everything's a learning process in anybody's journey.
right.
Uh, and I sleep a lot more. I
Yeah,
recover.
sleep can be
I
that's
I
very
usually
necessary.
yeah I usually jump in the sauna. When I come out of the sauna, I jump in a cold shower. Uh,
Okay.
it's quite a bit beneficial. Uh, I've really just learned on the go and and taking advice as I get it and trying to coop everything into one jar.
You brought up something that I'd always like to touch base on. You said it's kind of a learning experience. You have to learn as you go. Looking back, what do you think were some of your biggest mistakes that you had to learn the hard way? That if, you're thinking about how that now you know better, but you kind of had to learn the hard way.
Um, this time.
All
This
of them. We can
time,
go through all of it
all
from
of
the
them.
very beginning.
The first time with the gastric bypass, I wish I knew what I knew now, as in exercising, as
Yeah,
in, as in, but I don't regret it because I was a kid. Like there's a
right.
difference. I wasn't
Yeah,
forty.
and you don't have to hold it against yourself. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
nice to
yeah,
look
yeah.
back and be
So,
like, man, I
so,
wish I would have
so,
learned that at the
I wish
time,
I knew what I knew now. But
Yeah,
at the end of the day, I was 17. I was a kid mentality.
yeah.
You know, I was
So
a
just
child.
exercise, that was one of the things you would have focused
Yeah,
on a little bit more.
exercise and I didn't know. Of course, I didn't know this time if it was going to work. Like if I was going to really mentally like be strong. Like I didn't know when it was
Yeah,
going to click, but it finally clicked. This time, uh, I wish I wouldn't let the haters have more headspace than what they should.
yeah. Just keep them kind of
That's
out of
to
your.
be honest. To be honest, they do fuel me, but there's a lot of times it really does drag you down that they have so much headspace in you. Uh,
And that's a good. Maybe let's talk about that for a second. Is what did you do? Because I mean, negative thoughts can be from external sources or internal. That there, everyone kind of runs into that. How do you process them and work through them to get back to where you're at, right? You said you give them too much headspace. How did you kick them out of your head and get
uh,
to where you are now?
it's just mind over matter, I guess. There's a lot of times I've jumped in just a regular shower and just cried and be like, why is people hating?
Hmm.
Why can't they just be proud?
Yeah,
No matter if I'm on Wegovy, no matter if I'm taking a water pill, no matter if I'm doing 3 miles, 4 miles, or no miles, why can't they just be proud?
yeah,
Why can't they just be supportive? And then when you sit here and get wind down on your nighttime things, you're like, it's because they can't do what you're doing.
hmm,
They don't have the motivation you got, and that's unfortunate. You know, and I've got a pretty good lifestyle because it's easy in my part now. Now, I wish I
right,
seen it. One thing that I wish I seen this 7, 8 years ago because I have no response. I have no children. I have no relationship. I can get up and go to the gym whenever I want. I can sit here and do push ups whenever I want. I can
right,
sit here. I've got freedom. Like
hmm,
I mean, there's a lot of people like we have people at work that are single people with kids, and it's a work 12 hours, run here, run here, run here, run here. I get why they can't get in the gym.
right,
You know what I'm saying? So I'm blessed on that end. Uh,
hmm.
wish I knew what I do. Like I had that mindset 7 years ago.
Right. Because beforehand, you had talked about kind of like the loneliness and hoping for a relationship was one of the things that caused you to have such a hard time with your
Yeah,
health and your weight. And now, after you've kind of processed things, now you almost look at it as like a positive. We're like, hey, like I have freedom, I have all these opportunities, and I
yeah,
think in general that's a common thing, right? Is what you start out with being a problem. Once you get through it and you get past it, a lot of times you can figure out how to turn it into a positive in your life and and kind of use it to fuel you.
yeah.
So, no, man, I think that's absolutely great. I think we're getting pretty close to wrapping up. Is there anything else you'd like to touch on? It sounds like,
Uh,
I mean, I'm just awestruck. That's crazy. It sounds like the
I
last
know
15 years, 20 years of life have been pretty intense. So,
it has been. It has had its up and downs. Like I said, my parents are my rocks these days. Get you a good support system. Uh, I enjoyed my journey. I've enjoyed talking to you, Mike, and hopefully it helps somebody out. Hopefully they get some advice or whatever and see my journey and take bits and pieces off of it and feed off of it. Uh, this journey right here saved my life, to be honest.
right.
And it goes back from family, my coworkers, the population inside the fence. It goes back to every one of them. And so I didn't know what I knew 7 years ago, but I know it now, and that's what counts.
Right.
And that's
No, and I
what
think that's
counts.
great. It's all about the progress and just getting past where you're at. But
Trust the
I mean,
process.
yeah. Jake, thank you so much for your time. This was absolutely awesome, and I truly enjoyed it. I hope our listeners enjoy it as well. I think we'll just kind of wrap it up there. So thank you for coming on.
All right, thank you.